Welcome to the Trust Factor Radio, bringing you interviews and insights to unlock the power of the subconscious mind to create authority, credibility, and trust. With your host, the Authority Architect and best-selling author, Neil Howe.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, and we are talking about Local Business 2020, a vision for the future. I want to take a deep dive into local business and where we are heading, what's working now, what's no longer relevant. And today my guests are Mark Brookland, who is the CEO and the founder of SEO Locale, along with Nick Quirk, who is the COO and CTO. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Excited.
Well, there's always a lot going on in SEO and local business. I say this all the time. Local business is the backbone of the whole country, putting people to work, delivering the things that they need. And there's tons and tons of searches every day for local business. I'm sure you know some of the numbers, but people are really searching based on geography now. Google is always changing their algorithms to make things better, we hope, but we have to keep up with it as local business owners in order to know what's working. So, Mark, if you would start off and tell me a little bit about where you see things heading in 2020 for local business.
Well, I think a big piece that's going to be very impactful for small businesses is the continued rollout of Google Local Service Ads. Kind of a two-parter, because Google Local Service Ads require that you have a Google My Business listing in order to be verified on the platform. So what Google Local Service Ads are is, if they have your industry and vertical available in their platform, then you can begin running Google Local Ads, which appear for different users through different searches. It's very similar to the Google Adwords platform.
Okay,
the difference is...
Hold on, Mark. Explain exactly to us where the Google Local Service Ads appear. Is that right at the top of the Google Guaranteed area, or is that within the map pack?
Yeah, it's in the Google Guaranteed area. It's right above the map pack. It's right above the standard ad locations. It's both mobile and desktop. And they have proven for us to be extremely successful campaigns that we've launched for our clients so far.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about the Google Guarantee. I guess people call it by different names. I'm more familiar with the Google Guarantee, those first listings that you see with many local business searches right at the top, but you also call them the local service ads. What or how do you get certified, if it is, to get in that place right there?
Well, to be honest, it is a bit of a process. You can apply through the Google Local Service Ads platform, and it is a bit of a bit of a process to go through it. You need to get verified through Google. You'll have to go through background checks. You'll have to provide any licenses or anything like that you have if your industry requires it. And that's really what the process is in order to get verified, along, of course, like I said earlier, having a Google My Business page. That process is typically about 2 weeks. And once you get fully approved, then you're able to determine the specific geographic areas that you want to target, what your budget is going to be. Google gives you an estimate of what your cost per acquisition is going to be. And I want to highlight cost per acquisition because differently than standard Google ads, what this platform will do is you actually only pay for a lead. And if someone calls you and for whatever reason they're not qualified, then you can dispute that lead with Google and they will reimburse you. I've had experience with doing that. I've seen them refund several unqualified leads that were generated. So really, you are paying to get a lead, to close a lead. That's much more guaranteed than something that of your standard search ad.
So this is a paid ad service. It's not quite like the pay-per-click where you're just getting the click. You're hoping that it's something that's going to turn into some business. This is more focused and more focused, I guess, on conversion rather than just traffic.
Absolutely. Now, again, the caveat is it's not available for everyone. They are continually to roll out more and more verticals, but right now it's fairly limited. But if it's available to you, check it out. It's been really successful for the campaigns we've run so far.
Nick, if you could talk about that, what is the difference between running the Google local service ads and running a pay-per-click campaign? If you are focusing on leads mainly, what is the cost per lead for each one?
Yeah, it does vary depending on the industry you're in. For example, we have someone who does HVAC. He could be charged $15 per lead through LSA. And then, on the flip side, if you're doing paid advertising, you can spend $100 and have a typical conversion rate between 1% to 5%, and spend $100, and that person might be shopping around. So we've seen the LSA actually be a little bit more successful compared to your traditional paid advertising, the cost per click, because you're just paying the cost per acquisition. And these people are really not shopping around, which is kind of weird because it is kind of a directory, like bark.com and stuff like that. But for some reason, these, let's say 7 out of 10 of these are actually going to convert. And, for any business, you're going to get your return on investment on these because it's such a low cost per acquisition, since it is new and there isn't much competition in LSA right now. I think in 2020, I think it could change. I think instead of spending $15 for an HVAC company, you could be spending $25. But that's kind of how this stuff rolls out. So it's kind of something to jump in on now and see if it can fill in the gaps for a lot of digital marketing plans for a lot of these small businesses.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's like, AdWords back 10, 15 years ago where there wasn't that much competition with it. But I'm sure that, like you said, that's going to spike very quickly as soon as people start seeing real results from there. What do you need to look at in a campaign that you're doing for the LSA that is going to improve it and get you the best results?
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of a wonderful product for pretty much any small business owner because it's really just setting it up initially, determining, the zip code you want to reach or the service you want to provide. There isn't much of selecting keywords or anything like that. It's more so of this is what I offer as a service, and Google will automatically provide you the Google guarantee selection depending on the search intent and giving that quality lead that you need. You don't have to worry about keywords, which is kind of nice for a lot of small business owners. It's just the initial setup of it.
Now, it seems like the local service ads are really competing with some of the other big companies out there. And I know that Google really loves brands, which is why you have the Barks, the Home Advisors, the Yelps, and all those other directories that are out there. Do you see the Google service ads really competing with them?
I think so in a way, but I think that Google is giving you that Google guarantee where, it's guaranteeing that customer that you're going to get quality service. They did a background check on this person. Instead of bark.com and all those other directories, when you submit your information to those directories, it's being sent out and distributed to 10 other businesses. Now, with LSA, if someone's interested in your service or your business, they're just contacting your business directly. So it's not like it's being distributed to 15 other people and that consumer or that person is getting 15 different phone calls. So I think it's a different type of model in a way, but also kind of mimicking their model of, being able to provide them, that intent of this is what this company does, and their importance of the service or the product of what they have.
Mm. And there's lots of lead gen companies out there as well that will, put up their own websites, gather these leads as much as possible. I know Google's really trying to crack down on them as much as they can, because I would say it is direct competition as well for the Google local service ads.
Yeah, when people see that Google guaranteed, that kind of gives them that comfort, because Google is Google. And the other aspect to consider with that Google guarantee, Google is guaranteeing that service is going to provide them the service that the customer is looking for. So if the customer complains to Google that they didn't get the service that they wanted, or it's a bad service, or any sort of things, Google will reimburse that customer. So it's really important for both the small business who is running these ads, that they're providing the service that they can, and that they're setting up their profile accurately. And just as importantly, Google wants to make sure that it's only going to guarantee the businesses that are going to perform the best service possible.
Mm. Now, Nick, you were saying that Google pretty much sets all this up for you, and I want to kind of touch on the artificial intelligence in a moment. But Mark, I think you were saying that it's setting up the profile properly. And is that your Google My Business profile? Is that how the results, or the AI part maybe from Google, is determining what to show?
Yeah, there's a couple different factors. Certainly, your Google My Business does automatically feed some information, but there is a human element to setting up the profile. So once you set up the profile with your proper business hours, the geography that you want to target, your vertical you're in, the services that you're going to be providing, and I believe those are all the elements that you need. So once you manually set up that process, Google is going to turn to all those different automated type of bidding systems that they have, similarly to what they have on an Adwords platform, and that's how that they determine how much leads you should be getting and where you're going to be appearing. And Google Local Services also has its own review system. So people who go through the local service ad platform and inquire for your services and hire you, they can leave a review through that local services platform as well.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I think reviews and social proof is really kind of what's driving things moving into 2020. Let's shift a little bit from the Google guarantee or the local service ads, move a little further down, and we get to the map, the Google My Business area. What's driving that? Because what I've seen is, a great deal of calls for businesses are coming from that map pack.
Yeah, the Google Google My Business is extremely important for local businesses, and it's alarming how many small businesses don't have one. But there's so many different optimizations you can do, and the small things that you can do with your Google My Business. Just making sure that you're setting up all the different categories that your business is in, making sure that your phone numbers are correctly, making sure that your website is updated properly. I see a lot of times, extremely frequently, that people don't have HTTPS in their link profile. Making sure that everything is as consistent as possible. Another big thing that people don't think to do is adding a quick description for the business, or responding to reviews, or posting on Google My Business. All of those areas are easy platforms that Google wants to hear more from you about your business, who you are, and what you're offering. So if you can utilize those areas to respond to reviews, engage with your customers, and even drop in a couple keywords you might be targeting, sticking with HVAC. If you get a positive review, you could say, "Thank you for calling our HVAC company. We appreciate your business." Something as simple as that, just so that you're constantly sending those reminders to Google that this is a keyword I'm really interested in. This is a keyword that you should find my business relevant for.
Right, and I think that's the message that I always share is that whatever you say on your Google My Business profile, you have to prove to Google that that is what it is that you're doing. So anytime you can mention those keywords, like you said in the reviews, is a great way to do that. But also in the posts, it gives you an opportunity to get all those keywords in your posts as well. What have you seen from that side of things in the posts? What works best? Just a content post, or do you see people having lots of success with offers and things like that as well?
Typically, what I've seen is a lot of people like engaging with the offers that people are posting in Google My Business. You know, customers have always preferred pictures and videos as opposed to just text. But I think when it comes to the Google My Business posts, it doesn't matter which one you're using as long as you are staying engaging and keeping yourself relevant with Google so that they're constantly reading and being reminded that here's your website, here's what I'm offering, here's what I should be found relevant for.
Sorry, I was on mute. There's an interesting article, I think, that came out from Search Engine Land about a month ago, maybe, showing a correlation between the amount of images that you have on your Google My Business to the actual amount of calls. And, you know, it was like 520% greater than the average if you had over 100 images. Do you see many businesses out there with 100 images on their Google My Business profile?
It depends. We have some clients who love taking different pictures of the things they've done, different videos. They send it over to us and we'll post it on them. Those clients who are very aware and very in tune with it, they have a ton of videos, pictures, text as well from posts. So those clients make it very easy. We have some clients who have, you know, different type of family fun, entertainment parks. And those clients are, of course, easy. They have billions of pictures that you can add and update. It's some of the clients who are a little less in tune with what's going on. And even though, you know, you're trying to touch base with them on a weekly basis or whatever it is, saying, hey, next time you go to a job, you know, send me a picture or, you know, send me anything that are a little bit more difficult. But I've found that you've been able to almost offset that if you post a little bit more and are more active in reviews. And that way the engagement that you're getting from your picture and video content, you're still able to get that from posting.
And if you are working with a local business or they're trying to do some of this stuff by themselves, how often should they be posting pictures and posts to their Google My Business profile?
I always say at least on a weekly basis. But again, everyone's different. You know, if you want to post something once every day, go ahead and post something once every day. I don't think that there's, you know, an exact formula for anything that anyone is doing. If you have something to share, go ahead and share it. That's what Google wants to see. They want it to be organic.
Well, Google seems like they really want to keep everybody on the Google My Business platform. Are the websites relevant anymore? Do you see less people actually going to the website and instead they're just staying in Google My Business and either making a call from there or getting the driving directions or, you know, just getting the information they need from the services provided and everything that is on the Google My Business page?
Yeah, I think as a strategy as a whole, I think the website's going to help because there's times where you search and it's a local intent and the Google My Business will actually read what's on the website and it will say website mentioned this. So I think it's an important piece that you don't just ignore your website. Of course, the percentage of people that are going to local map pack versus actually clicking on the search engine results below that is changing throughout the years, but I would definitely make sure the entire strategy between both of them are as equal as important because we never know where Google's going to take Google My Business or how they're going to change the algorithm and stuff like that. because you don't want to fall behind your competition.
So the organic SEO portion is something that, you know, many agencies really drive, but especially with local searches, when you consider the Home Advisors, the Yelps, the Better Business Bureau, you know, all these different big directory sites, there doesn't seem to be many space for the little local, you know, business anymore. What's your advice to them to, you know, try and beat out some of these competition? Is it, you know, really worth doing the SEO part and trying to show up under the map pack in organic anymore?
I think there is always a way to beat out those directories. Of course, they have such a high authority versus a small business down the street, but I think you can take the SEO strategy, determine how many keywords are going to be relevant to yourself, and, you know, pick a strategy behind those keywords where maybe the directory is not appearing for this longer tail keyword versus this short tail keyword, and see if you can target that, and just create the strategy as a whole. And, you know, you'll eventually start beating out, maybe you just beat out Yelp on this one keyword, and then maybe the other keyword you start beating out another huge directory. So I think it's important to not just ignore that just because of directories are overpowering the search, because you never know, Google might come out with an algorithm update in 2 months and all these directories are going to be pushed down to the second page because they want to help the small business. So I think it's important that you don't just ignore keywords because you're being beat by this big directories, because there are ways to beat them.
Definitely. And I believe that, you know, just having the keywords on your page is going to help you show up and be relevant for a map search anyway. So there's more chance of you showing up on the map. When people actually do get to your website, then what kind of conversion things do you do to try and get people to make that call, fill in that form, or take the action that the business owner wants them to take?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little bit different for each industry, but of course, having an easily accessible contact form, maybe making the phone number a little bit bigger, different color, just few quick user experience, making sure your page speed is fast. I mean, honestly, that is something that a lot of small business owners kind of ignore, but we all always think about that people are connected to high-speed internet, and someone might not have service and they're on their phone. So page speed is going to be really important, and just making sure that, you know, the intent is there. So if their search is X, Y, and Z, make sure it's, you know, the answer on that page is going to be X, Y, Z, and it's not just going to be, you know, SEO filled content. You want it to make sure it's a great user experience. You're answering the questions of the users and you're getting their information. You can have an exit pop up, stuff like that, to kind of obtain their information so you can nurture that lead in the future.
Well, you know, I went to your site a couple of weeks ago, I think, and I did an SEO analysis. I got some information, but you've been following me around like a stalker for the last 2 weeks. Every website that I go to, I see a banner for SEO Locale and trying to get me back to your website, which it has done many times, and which is why I gave you a call to do this interview right now. Talk to me about the retargeting part that you do so well, and what kind of difference it makes for local businesses.
Yeah, I mean, the remarketing and the retargeting is important. A lot of people want to just focus on Google, but a lot of people are just scrolling through Facebook or Instagram. It's important that you get that remarketing, because you need so many touch points to get a customer. Someone isn't going to just go to your website and then purchase right away. That's why conversion rate is a little bit lower. But then when you start adding remarketing and retargeting, you capture their attention when they're scrolling their Facebook feed at night, or if they're going to another website that's part of a Google partner. You kind of just grab their attention. They see your brand everywhere. They're like, okay, maybe I should actually contact this company. It's really more a brand awareness. And then a lot of people look at the retargeting and marketing and look at their analytics and go, well, I didn't get any conversions this month. But if you dig a little bit deeper and look at assisted conversions, you can see that remarketing kind of brought them back, and then they search you again. And, you know, organically in analytics, they'll show that you have a conversion rather than remarketing or retargeting. So it's important to look at all data points possible when it comes to remarketing and retargeting. And, from a strategy behind that, you want to make sure you're sending them to a different landing page. If they went to your homepage, don't send them back to your homepage. Answer their question that they might have had why they bounced off your page. It could be that they want a free website analysis, or that you have a 10% off coupon that you want to give them. Their marketing and retargeting can be powerful for that.
Right. And, I've seen new figures out as well about the amount of marketing messages that people are subjected to in the United States. And I think it's up around 10,000 marketing messages a day. So, for most people, it's just a blur. And instead of the 7 touches that has been a familiar number for many of us in the marketing world, you need to, be exposed to some kind of advertising at least 7 times until you get a conversion. It's more like 22 now, because there's just so much marketing going on, and we'll get hit with so many messages. So, that retargeting has to be out there a lot of times. Have you had a lot of success with the remarketing campaigns?
We have personally, and then we have a lot of clients that do. It really just comes down to just that brand awareness and getting that, awareness out there to those people. Like you said, that is increasing. You hit them 22 times. It's just to that point where people are getting hit with so many types of different advertisements that it is becoming a very saturated market. But if you have that message that you can kind of capture their attention, you're going to get their business. So it's kind of important to make sure that you have the strategy in place rather than the remarketing or retargeting that a lot of people actually make mistakes in. They'll send you back to a certain page that they were just on, but there's a reason why they left the website and didn't contact you. So you want to make sure that you're answering those, pain points and needs for anyone that is going to your website.
Definitely. Mark, I want to touch on branding, because the way I see things moving in the future is AI is going to come in, and they're going to do a lot of the SEO portion of ranking for us with machines or software, to where you really have to separate yourself from the competition. And I think that's where the branding comes in. What kind of branding things can we do to really get that message out there that we are different from the other people that might show up for the same search?
For us, for our branding purposes, we use remarketing and social media pretty heavily. I believe that social media is a great platform for just about every business to grow their brand and get people to at least know who they are. A lot of people say, like, oh, I don't make any money from social media or something like that, which I get that, and it makes sense, because people aren't using Facebook as a search engine. They're going to Google when they're looking for a product. But when it comes to building a brand, it's so easy to, $20 on Facebook, and all of a sudden you're blasting out a post to 10, 20,000 people. It's such a minimal cost to get your name out there. And that's what branding is, right? You're trying to get people to associate with your brand, recognize your brand. We just went through a pretty hefty rebrand ourselves with our colors and our logo. And we were all over social media about it. We tried to cause a big buzz about it by, creating pictures with blurs on it, and, sending out small little tidbits each day of, oh, what could be next? What could be next? And people really started to engage with that. And I was kind of surprised how interested so many people were seeing, like, what is this big announcement? So I think social media is the best, is a great platform, and best utilized for building up your brand awareness.
Now, there's a few things that people talk about all the time. Video being one of them. I think video is a huge portion of the internet, and most information is going to come from video, as well as voice search. We're seeing an increase in the amount of people that are just picking up their phones and talking to it rather than typing it in, even on their laptops as well. How do you think those are going to increase And I want to touch on 5G as well and get your opinion of what kind of difference you think that's going to make in the overall landscape of things.
Yeah, I think the voice search, I think from what we've seen in the past just 2 years of it expanding, I think it's going to continue expanding. I think we're going to hit a certain point where it's going to kind of become stagnant in a way. I mean, personally, me, I don't use for voice search. I have been noticing that the older demographic is using it just because it's quick and easy. And then also some younger kids are using it now. So it's kind of shifting, all kind of ways. It's not just one type of person's using it. So I think we're going to start hitting points where technology is going to change, and you never know where the voice search is going to go. But making sure that the voice search, it's going to be the longer tail keywords because they're speaking and they're not typing it out. So making sure you have a strategy behind voice search versus just someone actually typing a short tail keyword. Making sure that you're answering both questions and making sure you're impacting them in all kinds of ways. And then 5G, I mean, some phones aren't even available with 5G right now. So making sure that when 5G is released on a lot of the phones and a lot of the, cell phone companies actually start providing 5G and those towers, I think with the increased speed on a lot of phones, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of people actually increasing mobile traffic to websites. And, we're seeing that change over and over and over. I remember 5 years ago reading an article how mobile phones have increased, 40% searches, and now it's almost 50-50. So I think mobile phones are going to start overtaking because a lot of people aren't buying desktops and laptops now. They have these little tablets, these phones, and people are starting to use them a little bit more often.
Right. I can't imagine in a year or two, what these phones are going to be able to do with 5G. But like you said, people are so used to using the phones now that even the laptops are, becoming extinct like the dinosaurs. We're not selling as many laptops anymore. And how do you think that's going to impact video? Because obviously with 5G, things are going to download a lot faster. There's a lot of apps and tools out there for video marketing. How important do you think that's going to be, where local business people are going to really have to get on video and interact and be seen as a person and a brand in of themselves by, using video specifically for marketing?
Yeah, definitely. I think videos have been slowly progressing in this space. I think it's important for the consumer to kind of relate to the business owner, or just in general knowing who the owner is of a business. So I think video with 5G, I think it's going to be huge, because if you can load a video and not have to worry about buffering or loading, I think we're going to start seeing an increase of people actually leveraging these videos on websites. We personally start leveraging a lot of videos on our internal pages and stuff like that, because some people don't have the time to read 500 words on a page or 1,000 words on a page, and they'd rather just click on a video, watch it and listen to it, and take their next step from there. So if you can give them that visual element of you actually exist and you're not a company that, is hiding in someone's basement or something like that, and trying to build a company that looks big and it's really not big. So it's kind of important to be able to connect to your consumers and let them know, like, hey, we're here and this is who we are, and come check us out. So I think with the 5G, it's going to change the way that people interact with websites in general.
Last point, do you think or at least from me, do you think things are moving to that more social, here I am, you've got to put yourself out there, tell the world your business brand story, or do you think it's still going to rely on link building to, show up first on the ranking? So basically, is the traffic going to come from the social part of continually posting, or from the search part where people, still need links moving into 2020?
I think in 2020, we're going to see kind of a combination of both. I think link building is still going to be strong. But I think that a lot of these small businesses and just business in general are going to start utilizing, video content pictures and stuff like that. Because I mean, there was an update just in November, and I mean, it's not an official update, but people have witnessed that people were somehow manipulating the Google local map pack, and they were ranking for, you know, certain lawyer keywords, and they were somehow manipulating it, and Google caught that and fixed that. So I think a strategy as a whole for any small business owner is going to really be putting themselves out there. I mean, if I went to a small business and, you know, I'm on their Facebook page and I'm seeing a video and I might tag a friend like, hey, check this out. Just because it's one of those things that I'm relating to that business owner. You can't do that on search, but also I would have never found them, you know, if I wasn't using a search. So it's kind of an entire strategy between both of those. I don't think one's going to overpower the other in 2020.
Yeah, definitely different intents, being a search where you're looking for information right now, whereas on social media, you're not generally in the shopping mode. Well, you know, I know you guys wanted to talk about ADA compliance and how that is going to affect local businesses. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, ADA compliant. A lot of websites, they don't add image alt tags, video transcriptions, and captions. So there are, and it's kind of a shame, but there are lawyers out there that just go on websites and finding out if they're ADA compliant. And a lot of small business owners can't afford to be sued, and they're being sued for not being ADA compliant on their website because they're not aware of adding image alt tags and making sure it's, you know, handicap accessible and stuff like that. So there are a bunch of tools out there that you can run your website and, you know, run and tell you what you need to make, you know, compliant on your website. So you're not going to be hurt by, you know, someone that does have a disability accessing your website. Of course, you want to make sure that, you know, these people who can't read, that the image alt tags are read or something like that to them so they can determine what is actually on that web page. So I think it's kind of important as a whole from a strategy, making sure your website's compliant, but also making sure that, you know, if someone does have a disability, you're being able to provide them the experience they need to visit your website. So I think we're going to start seeing a huge shift in just ADA compliancy because, I mean, it's best practices to make sure you have image alt tags and stuff like that. But a lot of small businesses kind of just like ignore that because they are not familiar with, you know, just being compliant with ADA.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not something that they are thinking about on a day-to-day. But is the danger from, you know, lawyers out there that with a threat to sue, or is it something that Google may penalize soon?
Honestly, I think it's both. I think that there is, you know, a combination of people just from the lawyer side, and then there is the Google side where it is important to make sure. I mean, image alt tags are an SEO factor for on-page. Yeah, it's minor, but it's also something that you want to make sure you have, and being able to give the best user experience. I mean, that is always key for SEO. So I think it's kind of a combination of both at this point.
Well, there's so much to talk about. We have talked about a lot already today. If there's something that we missed out that you want to touch on quickly, Mark or Nick, what might that be?
All I would say is moving forward, it's not going to be good enough to just focus on one piece of your digital marketing strategy. It really is a whole pie, so it's important to do everything well if you want to get the best results from your digital marketing strategy.
And Nick, last words, any advice for local businesses that might be listening into this? What would you tell them to concentrate on mainly moving into 2020?
I think 2020 would be technical, you know, things with your website, making sure all the links are working, images are loading, and page speed. And then also, of course, making sure ADA compliant. It's really important to give that best user experience. I know everyone always says user experience is key, and it really is because, you know, it kind of solves two problems. You get ranking on Google, you start getting the traffic, and then they start converting because they're having a great experience. So in 2020, I think that's a huge focus for a lot of small businesses.
Well, excellent, guys. Give a quick shout out to the people listening. How are they going to be able to get in touch with you? It's SEO Locale. You got a couple of offices, I think, in Jenkintown and Philly. What's the best way for them to reach out to you, Mark?
Well, you can go to our website, SEOLocale.com. You can email the business at hello@SEOLocale.com. Our number is 267-368-7905. We're located in Jenkintown, right outside Philadelphia. Full story, the Philadelphia location is my former apartment.
Yeah.
That's where SEO Locale was born.
Excellent. Great stuff. Well, Brookland is the CEO and founder, and Nick Quirk is the COO and CTO of SEO Locale. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being my guest on the Trust Factor Radio today.
Thank you for having us. Really appreciate it, Neil.
Thanks a lot, Neil. Have a go on. And anytime, we're happy to come on.
Excellent. Well, there you have it. Local Business 2020, a vision for your future. Make sure you are implementing these things that Mark and Nick have talked about today. And if you like what you hear, hit that like button and share, and we will see you next time on the show.
You've been listening to the Trust Factor Radio with Neil Howe. To learn about the resources mentioned in the show and to listen to past episodes, go to thetrustfactorradio.com. To get a copy of the book, The Trust Factor, go to thetrustfactorbook.com. If you are ready to act now and build your authority, credibility, and trust, schedule a consultation with Neil at theauthorityarchitect.com.